Hi everybody, Brent Jones, New Home Source Realty. How are you? Let's do a Facebook Live. What do you say? We're going to do a series. We're going to do a series of real estate questions. We're going to do one that pertains to sellers. We're going to do one that pertains to buyers. And then we're going to do one that pertains to how you should select what realtor you're going to use. What questions should you ask a potential realtor who's going to help you? But we're going to do the seller series first today. So let's get into that. Before we get started, click notifications, follow me, like this video, and leave a comment. So let's do, I get a bunch of questions from buyers and from sellers and from people that are thinking about hiring a realtor and what should they do, what questions should they ask, how's the process going to work, just some common questions. And so again, we're going to start with the sellers. So I have got some frequently asked seller questions. Question number 1. How should I prepare my house before selling? It needs to be decluttered would be my number one thing. If you're not using it every day, put it away. Put it in the garage, get it off the countertops. And that countertops, that includes kitchen and bathroom. Get stuff up off the floor. If you don't need it, if you're not using it, put it away. If there has to be a part of your house that's cluttered, if there has to be, then make it the garage. But get all the clutter out of the house. That would be number 1. Number 2 would be, there's nothing wrong with you having family pictures in the house. I mean, you live there, but you do want to limit it to a degree. You know, have you ever walked down somebody's hallway and on both sides, left and right, I mean, there's just so much of their family and their family history walking down. I mean, you're walking through like decades, right? There's just so much of them and their family in the house. It's hard for the average person to visualize themselves and their family in that house because there's just too much of the other family. So you might want to, I'm not saying take down every family picture, not at all, but you might want to kind of limit that some. What else? Repairs. If you know there's a major deficiency, you might want to go ahead and address it. In this ridiculous market that we're in, you don't have to spend a whole lot of money to get your house sold. Now, again, if there's a deficiency and you're already aware of it, whatever, it's a safety hazard, it's a health hazard, go ahead and address it, because when you get a contract and that buyer has an inspection, it's going to come up on the inspection. So it's pay me now or pay me later. It's going to come up. So if you already know it's an issue, just get it taken care of so it's not an issue. Cosmetically, I'm not one of these realtors that says, hey, you need to spend $15,000 and redo all the flooring and paint all the walls. I don't personally believe that. I know there's realtors out there that do, but I don't, because what if you spend all that money and you're going to use your taste, right? How do you know that the new buyers are going to have the same taste as you? So you just spent $10,000-$15,000 repainting the walls and redoing the flooring, and you don't even know if they're going to like it. Now, if your kids have purple walls and pink walls and blue walls, probably ought to be painted neutral. That would be good. If the carpet is just horrible, it's just worn, it's just stained, it's just nasty, that would be a deficiency, and that's something that's going to turn a lot of people off. You ought to seriously consider replacing that, because a lot of people don't have very good imaginations and they only see what they see. They don't see what it could be. And if they walk in and your carpet is nasty, and trust me, in 30 years of being in real estate, I've walked across some carpet that when I get outside I want to take my shoes off and burn them. If your carpet's an eyesore, you should seriously consider that. But really, declutter, have it look nice. Smell, sometimes a lot of people use a lot of spices when they cook, or if you have pets, put out some fumigators, put out some potpourri, that kind of thing. You don't want any offensive smells. Declutter. If you had bizarre color walls, you might want to consider painting those. If your carpet is nasty, you ought to consider that. If you have any major safety or health deficiencies that you're already aware of, I would say take care of those. Get the grass out of the flower bed. Have the grass be mowed, prior to showings. I mean, obviously it doesn't have to be done every single time, but be sure that the grass in the front yard is not a foot tall. And the flower beds matter. Get the weeds and grass out of the flower beds. As a seller, should I order a home inspection? You could. To be honest with you, it's pretty rare. I really haven't come across it. There's nothing wrong with it as you as a seller going ahead and being proactive and going ahead and ordering a inspection now. So you will have a heads up of what's going to come up on the inspection when the buyer has it. By the way, if you do have a home inspection, you have to disclose that on the seller's disclosure that, yes, I have had a home inspection, and they can request a copy of it. But you could, if you wanted to, go ahead and do that and get a heads up on any problems that are going to pop up on the inspection report. How long will it take to sell my house? Well, if you have a good realtor, like me, for instance, a realtor is going to do what's called a CMA, a comparable market analysis, being as apples to apples as possible. And that would be in your exact subdivision for houses that were built approximately the same year as yours, same square feet, swimming pool or no swimming pool, same basic condition. And they'll be able to tell you what houses in your area have sold for in the last 90 days. So that will, and part of that, and the next question is, what would my home sell for? These questions are interrelated. How long is it going to take to sell your house, and what would your house sell for? Both of those answers can be answered by your realtor doing a comparable market analysis. So how long will it take? It's called DOM, days on market. It will show how long the houses in your subdivision that sold within the last 90 days, how long were they on the market before they got a contract, before they closed. So you can find that out. What should your house sell for? Again, on that same market analysis, your realtor can tell you what houses have been selling for apples to apples compared to yours on a per square foot basis. Then you take that sold price per square foot and multiply it times how many square feet your house has, and it will give you a really good idea of what your house should sell for. What else do we have? Is there any reason why my home's assessed value differs compared to the market value? So what they're asking there is, if you pull up your house on the county tax records, the county is going to assess a value to that. Why is it that number is different than what your realtor is telling you he or she thinks you can sell it for? Because what's on the county tax records is not a real estate market value. It's what they use to assess taxes on your house. So your tax assessed value is absolutely different from what your market real estate market value might be. What else was I going to say on that? But that's basically it. It's just a tax value that the county assesses to it versus what your realtor thinks. And by the way, the counties are now beginning to get into giving an opinion of what they think your market value would be. It's just kind of an algorithm. You still need a realtor to do a real in-depth comparable. But the counties are now doing kind of a aggregated value opinion. But again, it's just an algorithm. You need a real-life realtor to do a for real apples-to-apples comparable for you. What else? What is an agent's commission fee? So if you put your house on the market in Texas, it varies in other states, but in Texas, you would expect to pay 6%. Now, that 6% is broken up 3% on the buyer side and 3% on the seller side. Now, you as the home seller, you as the homeowner, you pay all the professional fees. The seller pays all the professional fees. Buyers don't pay. Well, they could, and let me get into that. But typically, sellers pay all the professional fees, and you could expect to pay 6%. Is that? We're going to talk about that in a second. Is that negotiable? Possibly, but that would be what you would expect. So your realtor who's helping you list your house would get 3%, and then whatever realtor brings y'all a buyer, they would get 3% for a total cost to you of 6%. Are real estate commissions negotiable? Yeah, TREC, Texas Real Estate Commission, would say absolutely commissions are negotiable. It depends. It depends on your realtor. Sometimes your realtor will help list your house and give you a break on what they're going to charge you to sell your house if you're going to go buy a house, and they get to be involved in that transaction as well. So anyway, Completely, absolutely varies agent to agent. Are real estate prices negotiable? So when you put your house on the market, is everything in the contract negotiable? And the answer to that question is absolutely. Everything in... Did that light just go out, or is that my imagination? I digress. Yes, everything. Everything in real estate is negotiable. Everything. And so when the contract is 23 paragraphs long, and there's multiple issues per paragraph, and there's a lot of things in that contract that the buyer might ask for, they might not ask for. You as the seller, you could say, okay, I'll agree to that, but I'm not going to agree to that, but I will do that, but I'm not going to do that. So it's absolutely negotiable. Let me say this. You have to be aware of what's going on in the market. Just because your uncle got a $20,000 price off the house back in the 1970s, that has nothing to do with what's going on in the market today. Today, the market is ridiculously favoring the sellers. Buyers, in order to be competitive, they need to sharpen their pencil. You need, in your realtor, if you were a buyer, your realtor could tell you what he or she thinks would be a reasonable offer based on recent comps in that area. But as a seller, if your house is in a good area, good school district, in good, reasonable condition, and it's priced well, you can expect to get a full price offer. That varies depending on area to area, but you have every reason to have that kind of expectation. In some areas, houses are selling above asking price, and they're selling fast. Now again, that varies. We're in North Texas, DFW Metroplex. That varies based on the different areas, but in today's ridiculous seller's market, a typical house in a nice area, in good condition, that's priced well, you could expect it to sell fast and even above asking price. But again, the question was, are real estate prices negotiable? And the answer is yes. Everything's negotiable. Everything in that contract is negotiable. So those are some basic seller questions, frequently asked seller questions. Anything I can do, be happy to do it. I'm Brent Jones. I've been here. I've been here all my life. I've been in real estate for 30 years. I've got a 98% approval rating on Google. Anything I can do to be of help. If you have some more questions, if you're just troubled or concerned or have a question or just want to chat about real estate, feel free to give me a call, 214-649-4528. If you have a house to sell, I'd be happy to chat with you about it. If you wanted me to come out and you can give me the 10-cent tour, be happy to do that as well. And if we have a match and anything I can do to help you sell your property, I'm more than happy to do so. Again, Brent Jones, New Home Source Realty, 214-649-4528. It must be time to end because the light came back on. Y'all have a great day. Bye-bye.